Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Whatever, Whenever, the show where we talk about whatever we want, whenever we want. I am Robin.
And I'm the Mentok, the prophet. But I am the whatever. Actually, I haven't, given you a weird response in a long-ass time. I can't think of one now, though. It's too late. I had to think about it in the first 3 seconds during the intro, so next time.
Next time, yeah. Well, I'm the whatever. And I'm just gonna say this right now. At the description, it says that we upload every Thursday and Sunday. Fuck the description. We're not following that anymore.
Who needs a schedule?
Who needs a schedule anyways? Yeah. It's
Like
been
my-
2 weeks since our last upload.
Like my mentor Etika once said, fuck the schedule.
Based.
Yeah. I don't think if he actually said that, though. But he was not one for scheduling shit, so there,
Yeah. True.
You get the content when you get it.
Yep.
So,
Well-
what's been going on?
Well, have you heard about what's been going on with Unity, the game engine?
Yeah, you kind of briefly told me before we started this. I wasn't supposed to spoil that to our listeners.
It's okay, it's not the first time we've done that. But, yeah, so let me look up his name real quick. But, basically, Unity's, CEO is a former CEO of,
EA, right?
yeah, Electronic Arts. His name is John Ricitello, and recently he did an interview where he called developers that don't monetize the hell out of their mobile titles and stuff. He called them, and I kid you not, these are his exact words. He called them fucking idiots.
I've noticed a lot of executives like to just drop the professional shit every once in a while and just carry on that way to sound cool or edgy. And it's a little cringe, man. I mean, that's just my opinion on that, because before we get to the rest of the story, it's just, and I've seen that in the professional world too, where people are meeting with me for the first time and they drop an F-bomb or two, and honestly that it doesn't destroy my opinion of that person, but it turns me off, because it's just you can't help yourself and you just met me for the first time,
Yeah.
So
I get you.
Anyway,
but yeah, so after that quote went around, started making the rounds after that interview dropped, the first thing he did was go to his Twitter and tweet out this wonderful little string of text. Clickbait, period. Out of full context, period. Deeply sorry if what I said offended any game dev, period. Absolutely love the people that make games, period. Creative, hard work, period. Hashtag Unity. That went over about as well as you think it did.
why does it sound like a telegram from wartime?
Probably because of the way I said it, but then also, yeah, it kind of does. This dude's got white hair. He's old as fuck.
So, okay, there's so many better ways he could have gone about stating that, because I kind of get what he's saying, right? Or how, I'm not even going to say it's what he said. It's not what he said. It's how he said it. It's definitely what he said. But yeah. I see where he was going with it, right? If you have a mobile game out there and you're not monetizing it, it's kind of silly. You can put out games for fun, but there's so much money in the mobile gaming market that it would be, it'd be silly to, if your intention is to, make a game or something, it's good to monetize those things. That's my opinion. But that's why you have a lot of trash mobile games that are gotcha and all that stuff. I think it's kind of a toxin on gaming right now, but whatever. I'm not huge into the mobile scene, but I definitely see how lucrative it can be. And if you are at a business convention with other devs and you're saying this, hey, you should really think about monetizing your products because there's a lot of money to be made in the mobile gaming market. This wouldn't have made any type of headlines. That's just, and I think I'm saying the same thing that he's saying when I say that.
I want to disagree because this guy is notorious for pushing the scummiest microtransactions in things possible.
Okay, so I'm wrong.
Our boy Risatello here. Let me give you some background.
Can we call him Nutella? Because that's what I think of when I hear that line.
Well, our boy Risatello here, or Nutella if you prefer.
Thank you.
He was the CEO of EA from 2007 to 2013, meaning that he was president when Mass Effect 3 was released. And he also won the worst company in America from Consumerist during his time in that. And just a month after he resigned in 2013, the company got it again.
Yeah, he was a part of that group. Got it.
And also, there is, I shit you not, there's this audio recording. Ricky, if you find it, put a snippet of it in. There's this audio recording of him in like an investor meeting or something, of him saying, him like talking about like Battlefield and saying that they should charge like $1 to reload ammunition because the player won't notice because they're invested at that point.
You know, I remember that, and I had completely forgot it was that dude.
It's this dude.
He's one of a kind, though. And all right, so I take back what I said earlier. I wasn't trying to play devil's advocate. I was just trying to translate like douchey businessmen talk into like English. But
you didn't realize we were talking about the devil.
Yeah, that guy. I remember that was for Battlefield 3, right? Or is it Battlefield?
Think so.
It must have been Battlefield 3 because that's around the time that I'm thinking. Yeah. They were trying to do the most with that. Like, it was ridiculous. And on top of that, I don't know if anybody listening remembers, but there was like multiplayer passes that were included in games at the time. So you had to buy a game new, and it would have like a little pamphlet with a code in it, and that would be your multiplayer pass for the multiplayer game that you're buying. And I think that went for like Battlefield 3 and Call of Duty at the time, whatever Call of Duty was out at that time. So I'm so glad that practice is over, but honestly, that guy was part of that generation, so I totally get where you're coming from with this.
Yeah. So yeah, this guy, total like scummy evil business guy. Obviously after that tweet didn't go over very well, he put out this like this, I guess, more formal one where it was like one of those PR speak white backgrounds, right? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna read this out to you. Ricky, can you do me a favor, and while I'm reading this, put over this most insincere, like sappy stock, like sad music you can possibly find? Because I
putting Ricky to work right now.
Yeah, we are.
Actually, no. Ricky, put in Sadness from Sonic Adventure.
Yes, do that one.
Use that one. You'll find it quick.
Yeah. Okay. To our friends in the Unity community, I owe you this. I want to talk about both what I said in the interview and my follow-up tweet. I'm going to start with an apology. My word choice was crude. I am sorry. I am listening, and I will do better. What I can do, perhaps, is provide more on what I was thinking when I did the interview. What I would have said if I had taken greater care. First, I have great respect for game developers. The work they do is amazing. Mm-hmm. The creativity can be incredible, whether on a AAA console, mobile, or indie game designed to be played by millions, or a creative project, a game made just for the sheer joy of it. Second, one thing I have seen is that most game devs work incredibly hard and want people to play their game, to enjoy it, and, when appropriate, for players to engage deeply. For the game devs I have worked most closely with, there is often anxiety about whether players will love the game and appreciate all the work and love that went into making it. Third, sometimes all a game developer wants is to have a handful of friends enjoy the game. Art for art's sake and art for friends. Others want players to play $ to buy the game or game items so they can make a living. Both of these motivations are noble. Fourth, what I was trying to say and clearly failed at saying is that there are better ways for game developers to get an early read on what players think of their game, to learn from their feedback, and if the developer wants, to adjust the game based on this feedback. It's a choice to listen and act, or just to listen. Again, both are very valid choices. If I had been smarter in choosing my words, I would have said just this. We are working to provide developers with tools so they can better understand what their players think, and it is up to them to act or not based on this feedback. Anyway, that's it. Lots of words, and a sentence I wish I had never said.
Was that a twit longer?
No, but it was a screenshot of a Doodle document.
That sounds like a YouTube apology.
It really does. It feels like I'm watching the Logan Paul apology video from, like, you know, I made a serious and continuous lapse in my judgment, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Also, I gotta say, he adamantly refused to capitalize the word I several times. There's red lines all over this fucking thing, and it's pissing me off.
That's boomer texting right there.
It is.
Well, thanks for that beautifully read apology. I don't... And he's the CEO of Unity right now?
Yeah, he's the CEO of Unity, the game engine, which a lot of people associate Unity with, like, those like shitty asset flips that flood Steam and stuff, but there have been really good games made in Unity, like Cuphead, for example.
Yeah, there's definitely some good stuff out there. They just don't they don't have that Unity symbol at the beginning, which is probably why people don't think it's in there.
Yeah, like Genshin Impact is made in Unity. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me either. It's a great tool.
Yes, it is a great tool, and unfortunately, it seems like thanks to John here, they're going in a unfortunate direction where they're more focused on pushing monetization and stuff than, like, improving their tools.
You should have said you missed an opportunity. You said it's a great tool, but because of this tool, they're going in an unfortunate direction.
Yes, it's a great tool, but because of this tool, they are going in an unfortunate direction. Very well put. Very well put. I'm glad that I thought of that, and no one else helped me come up with that phrase, that sentence.
If you hear a weird gap in between lines, it's because our editor took out some jokes. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Leave everything in.
Yeah, leave everything in.
Robin came up with that himself.
Yes. But yeah, so another thing about this is that they recently merged with, like, an ad company, like a company that specializes in mobile game ads. If Kotaku will ever let me get the fuck off their website. There we go. Let me pull up the name of it, because I don't want to, I don't want to...
They merged, or they were acquired?
They merged, acquired. I've heard both. I don't know if it's the same, like, thing. I want to be clear about that. Yes. It is a merger between Unity Software and Iron Source.
Iron Source. I feel like I've heard of that.
Yes. Iron Source is currently, they do, like, a bunch of mobile game ads and stuff, but they are most well known for, around 2016, they put out, like, a package kind of thing that was meant to be like a launcher, but that launcher became immediately synonymous with like adware and spyware and stuff like that. So like after like putting out that program, they like distanced themselves and just went into making ads and stuff.
You guys played yourselves.
Yes. So,
well,
yeah.
Let that be a lesson to anyone using Unity. The CEO is a chode, but
yes, a massive penis.
Like, go look up a picture of them and you'll see a penis. It's like that.
Yes.
Anyway,
Anyway, so yes, unfortunate for Unity. I hope that this guy gets the fuck out. But given track record with other shitty CEOs, that probably won't happen. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a few weeks since we talked about Activision.
Probably a month or so at this point.
I feel like a dog dies every time I say the word Activision or something like that, you know? Activision Blizzard. But I don't think the acquisition is fully approved yet. I still think that they're going through like all the hoops that comes with that.
Yeah.
So Microsoft, I'm sure, is still working on that, right? So everybody is like, "Oh, this is great. Microsoft is gonna help improve the company, and that asswipe Bobby Kotick will leave forever." And I think now he's still in that pending lawsuit with that. I don't know. He's in a few pending lawsuits. I can't even keep track anymore.
Yeah, the man's got so many lawsuits levied against him. He's like going crazy.
But my point in bringing him up, this is news from like a few weeks ago or whatever. Apparently, he's going to stay on the board of directors. So while everybody thought he was fired by like Phil Spencer or whatever, like, hey, once we fully acquire this, then you have to get the fuck out. Everyone thought that's what was going on, and apparently that's not what's going on. He will be sticking around with Activision as long as he can drain money from it, and that's kind of the news that I have. It's like, it's been around for a little bit. You guys know my opinion on this. I've beat this over the head countless times, but
we both have really.
This asshole's going to win one way or another, right? He's getting money out of the acquisition, and the fact that he gets to stay there is kind of stupid, because...
Yeah.
I mean, he has a trail of shit behind him, and he's just smearing it into the ground behind Activision as, like, time goes by. But, I won't even say, like, karma's going to get this guy, because honestly, I see these people die of old age, too. Like, they'll live to 93 and, like, have, like, $50 billion to their name. So,
The only way karma can catch up to Bobby Kotick is if people investigate why his name was in Jeffrey Epstein's flight records.
Yeah. And even then, like, if he went to jail, he'd be eating better dinner than I probably am. Like,
yeah. It sucks.
It's sad, but that is the world, unfortunately. Justice is quite steep. It's a very expensive price to pay. And we're the ones paying it, essentially, with our tax money.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess that's the news on Activision. Without dragging on too much about that, I had a little something I wanted to talk about today, Robin, because I always have to humble the Sonic community.
Yes.
So as you know, like, all the games that I've been covering, like, I've been in tune with this series since Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and I first played it early 90s. I think it was like 94 where I first got my hands on it, because my parents were like late to the video game side of things, so whatever. Once we had it, it was me and my sister that got to play Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and stuff. And like, even in the classic games, you can kind of tell Sonic's personality, which they've deviated as classic Sonic now, and all this other media about classic Sonic is out. But overall, whether it's classic Sonic or modern Sonic, the personality still kind of carries, right?
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a foil to Mario. And before I'm like repeating all this history lesson again, just understand that Sega went with a more edgier character, and I think like Sega of America, which may as well have been like a totally different company to Sega Japan at the time. They wanted to make these suggestions so that there was popularity in the West. An edgier, more extreme character is what would have tracked in the West, and it helped a lot. I think that's what made the character, especially that popularity in the United States and Europe. Which
they even put ads for like the Game Gear and stuff in Playboy.
Yeah, so see, like it's supposed to be that, like it was supposed to be for teens and adults, but like Sonic was also a game that kids could play too. But they were trying to get that market, like by getting the older brother or the older sister to want the Sega, and then the younger sibling just kind of like gets in it via FOMO. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's exactly my story, actually. You know, that Sega Genesis was my older sister's, and that's what got me into it. So it worked. You know, like I am a product of that type of marketing. So I just want to, you know, say like how ingenious Sega of America was at the time. A lot of people don't really understand the influence that they had over Sonic as a character, and that's why he's even more popular here than he is in Japan at this current stage. So there's a lot of character I almost said character twerks. I was gonna say I was mixing traits with with quirks, and I got character twerks. Anyway, Sonic as a character is meant to be cocky, full of himself, but also someone who wants to save the day, and is also very understanding and in tune with his enemy. We see this in like early, you know, American cartoons, but let's put that aside for a sec. Let's say that the moment Sonic got a voice in Sonic Adventure, we knew exactly what his personality was like. And at the end of that game, Perfect Chaos has completely laid waste to an entire city. People have probably died. Sega doesn't explicitly state that, but I mean, come on, you can't say that no one died there. So like you have this city that's laid to waste, and you know, Tikal comes from the Master Emerald and says this creature has been angry over people committing crimes, and that those people were from my race, you know, like they destroyed the things that he loves and stuff like that, and now he's been there for thousands of years just feeding on that anger, but we have to seal him again before he does more damage. And Sonic's response to that is, we can't do that. You know, like he is only going to be angrier, and we have to stop this problem and, you know, have him live in peace with this, you know. So even though this monster destroyed and probably killed a bunch of people, like Sonic is kind of reaching into the cause of the problem, and that's the anger of chaos. And however you feel about that approach, you know, you're welcome and entitled to that opinion, right? If you agree that maybe they should have sealed him, right? What if it didn't work out? All those questions are things that are valid for somebody to ask. But I don't think that Sonic is written to be perfect. And he's not written to be a character that always knows the answer to the problem. And I think that kind of flaw, or like that kind of personality, is what makes him so charming versus a Mario who always seems to know what to do, rarely seems stressed in the situation. You know, like I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. And of course even in the Mario games that have better writing and explore Mario as a character even more, Mario's kind of like an outsider to all of it mostly. Like Paper Mario, like he's just kind of there while things are happening around him. Sonic is deeply engaged with all of this stuff. So here comes the point of me bringing this up. Recently, Sonic IDW comic dropped an issue that was written by Ian Flynn, who took a break after a while for a couple of arcs, because I'm sure he was working on Sonic Frontiers. I think Sega gave him a plot for Sonic Frontiers, and he kind of bridged the gap and put the character writing in there, which is what has me excited about this, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, he went ahead and had this direct issue that he released, right? He created 2 OC villains that are getting very popular in the Sonic community, and they were created in the likeness of both Sonic and Tails, and were created by like a side character that idolizes Dr. Eggman, and they were trained, and their purpose was to kill Sonic and Tails, even though they've never met them before. So the comic explores these 2 side villains named Surge and what was the other one?
I think
whatever. He's they stole my idea. He's like a nine-tailed water fox, based on like Tails' DNA or whatever. So I remember I've always wanted like a nine-tailed fox enemy to take on Tails.
Yeah.
So whatever, the comics are leading up to their showdown, right? To people like these two have never met Sonic and Tails. And Eggman has kind of been thrown out of the picture while this, imposter or his greatest fan is trying to take matters into his own hands and try to take over the world and share that with Eggman or whatever. So finally, Sonic and Tails meet Surge and this other guy. Let me get his name so I'm not annoying about this.
Isn't it like just Kit or something?
I think it's Kit, but like it's short for something pretty clever. Well, I'll call him Kit for now. Let me see. Kit, Surge and Kit, whatever. Kit Tsunami, which is that's a great name.
Yeah.
But they call him Kit for short, right?
Yeah.
So Sonic finally meets Surge, who he has no clue. He has no clue who this person is, and she just goes after him with this extreme aggression. Says how everything in her suffering is his fault. And how, like, the fact that he lets all these enemies that he encountered go or he doesn't finish the job, things like that are the reason why her and Kit exist and why, they hate him so much. He's the cause of their problem. And I think that writing is supposed to be a clear lack of insight from Surge. Like, she's blaming the wrong person. She's not blaming the people who did that to her. She's blaming the person who may have indirectly caused it, I'll agree, but that's not on Sonic, right?
Yeah.
And so as she's screaming all these things at him, his response is like, "Okay, I'm Sonic. Let's start again. I'm Sonic. Who are you?" So people are like, "Wow, what a dick response from Sonic." I'm like, that's very well in his character though. Like, he literally pulls up and this person attacks him and starts shouting about how things are his fault. Like, how are you even able to process that information? Yeah, so as you're sitting there backed into a corner, you're like, let's start over. And that's that confidence that Sonic has, right?
Yeah, like, I don't know why people are upset about this, because this is like, I'm pretty sure this isn't even the first time he's done something like that. Like, I'm sure that, like, in the Archie comics, he's probably done something like that as well, And
you can find a lot of different examples of this, but nobody was really bringing this up. Yeah. So he goes into his speech. She continues to blame him for certain problems, and I'm paraphrasing based on what I read, but she continues to blame him for certain problems and blame him for not stopping evil in the world, which is explored by other characters too. They do call Sonic out on that, and I think that's meant Ian Flynn was writing that as a clear character flaw. Like, Sonic even thinks about it for a moment, like, before he even meets Surge, like, as he's running, he's thinking about these things, like, by me not stopping these people, are all these little unfortunate events kind of indirectly my fault? You see him thinking about that. But he feels as long as he's around, he's always there to kick their ass until they decide to change a new leaf if that's what they choose to do. So it turned into this culmination of character development where he's comfortable with that, which I think is kind of a flaw, right? You keep letting these people go. You are putting people in danger indirectly. And to assume that you're always going to be there to stop them is hubris, right? That's a lot of confidence for somebody. But I don't think that's out of character for Sonic. Like, he feels like he can always get that job done.
He's always been a really cocky and overconfident person, like, in general. So it makes perfect sense that he would think that way.
Right. So he explains to Surge that this is the way that he is, and he likes to give his enemies a choice. They can either decide to turn a new leaf and, help people or be good people, or they can keep doing evil things. But just know, I'm always going to be here to stop you if that's the case. And proceeds to beat her in a fight. Like, pretty much humbles her ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? And whatever. I'm not going to spoil how it ends, because there's like this beautiful piece with Tails kind of talking his way out of the situation. And Eggman, like, grabbing the fake doctor by his freaking leg and slamming him into the ground and just, like, destroying him in a battle of wits and intelligence. It's great. I think it's a very well written thing, and it explores Sonic aside from, "Hi, I'm Sonic. I'm here to help you." And I'm just going to do this thing because I'm a hero and that's what I'm supposed to do. Flawed characters are what makes things interesting, especially when you have flawed heroes, which is why Batman is so popular. That's why people struggle to write Superman, because they have a hard time taking someone who is great at everything and adding flaws to that. I'm not saying that they haven't been successful in certain cases, because they have, but that's why Batman is more appealing to them, because he's more down to earth and people can kind of understand where he's coming from, even though he doesn't always make the right decisions.
Yeah. Like,
so,
I mean, like, to give you an example, a reason like why a lot of people like have trouble like writing for Superman, like if him being so perfect, is that a lot of the time they literally have to create like a different character in order to explore the flaws of Superman. Like, what if Superman landed in communist Russia instead of the U.S.?
Right,
you know?
And then you have like Injustice and things like that. It still has to change the character significantly.
Yeah,
you know,
and even like other stories, like Dr. Manhattan is arguably the Superman of the Watchmen universe, and he is a completely different character from Superman. Or even like Homelander from The Boys. He's like, what if Superman was raised in a lab instead of with loving parents? And what do you know? He turns out to be a deranged fascist.
And you see, that's my point, though. Like, I haven't even watched The Boys, and I see people absolutely adoring this character, Homelander. Yeah. I don't know anything about it. I'm probably going to watch very soon. But, you know, I see people really, like, looking up to this character and, like, not looking up, but liking the character, right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes people interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I like his character, too, but I don't like him because, he's, like, the perfect American patriot or whatever. No, I like him because he's a fucking deranged lunatic.
Right. So my point is, while Sonic is not necessarily a deranged lunatic, I have seen this flaw from way before the comics. Like, even in Sonic Adventure, like, he falls from the egg carrier, still chases after Eggman, goes into like this, this lost world level where he's learning about the echidna's past and things like that. And then he leaves and he's like, yo, what the heck? What was all of that? Then he sees Eggman flying away. He's like, all right, never mind that. I got to go kick Eggman's ass. And it's like, that's obsession, like they're obsessed with each other. And I think that's like character flaw, that's great. Like, and I always question like how intentional that is, that Sonic is just so fixated on stopping Eggman all the time and stuff like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, of course, on Twitter, I'm seeing a lot of debate about people saying that is not good writing for Sonic. That's not what his character is, or what his character is supposed to be. Because he had this long-winded speech explaining why he lets people go and, why he feels like he's always going to be around to stop them. I've seen so many different reasonings as to why they feel that that's not a good character arc for Sonic. And it's like, one person said it on Twitter, and of course it's retweeted everywhere, and then now all of a sudden a lot of people believe it.
Twitter persons say it. It's my opinion now.
Yeah. This is mine now.
I can't think for myself. I'm going to have someone with a large follower account decide what my opinions are on everything.
So I'm not going to name names, but I did see someone, who is prevalent in the YouTube community, say, hey, yeah, I agree with this too. I feel like Sonic is forcing a choice on people. And I'm thinking, like, at what point in this interaction is he forcing a choice on Surge? Surge can either stop attacking him and relax and talk things out and change for the better, or he's going to fight her to stop her from causing more damage in the world. I don't know how that's forcing a choice on somebody.
It's really not. It's the stupidest take I've heard in a while. Oh my god.
And then somebody like put in the comments below that finally someone with some influence says this. And I'm like, that's the problem that I've been talking about on this podcast for like over 3-4 episodes. You needed somebody to validate this opinion for you who is in that space to make it right for you. And honestly, you can feel that way. Like, I'm not saying anyone's wrong for believing otherwise. I'm just saying why I think that's wrong. So you don't have to go with my line of reasoning, but like honestly, it became this huge thing on Twitter, and it got super annoying.
For the love of whoever you believe in, if you don't believe in anyone, I don't care. Just think for yourself. Stop taking what random dumbasses on Twitter and YouTube have to say, because most of the time they don't know what they're talking about either.
Right.
Please.
Right.
Please. Make
I mean,
your own opinion, for fuck's sake. Don't listen to what we say either. Think about what we say and come to your own opinion. Stop praising internet people like the next coming of Christ, because they're not. They're dumb assholes who think their opinions matter more than everyone else's when they don't. Just think, for fuck's sake. Think.
And it's okay to think for yourself on a topic
It is okay.
like this.
It's okay.
Like it's just Sonic. You know, if you honestly disagree with that opinion or you subscribe to it, that's one thing. But just don't absorb opinions from anyone. Like, I know it sounds ironic as I'm explaining this to people, but I'm explaining why it upset me, because
yes,
I feel like it was very in tune with Sonic's character. Nothing seemed out of place, and I've been playing this game, this series, for like decades now. You know, and it's interesting that like it just feels so nitpicky, and I know that all of a sudden people are knocking Ian Flynn's writing style when he used to be like goated for it, you know. So now everyone's like, "Oh, go ahead."
That's another thing. It's like years. I've heard people say, "Oh, Ian Flynn is the best writer for Sonic. He's the only person who knows how to write Sonic." Blah 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 blah. Now he does like one thing they don't like, and they're like, "Oh no, I'm so worried that Sonic Frontiers is gonna suck because Ian Flynn is writing it, and he wrote that one issue of the comic I don't like." It's like, shut the fuck up. You can't just randomly decide that you don't like a guy after like sucking him off for like half a decade. No, not even half a decade. A whole decade. More than a decade, even. Like, shut up.
Man has his own podcast, by the way, and he shut all that shit down immediately. He was like, "I don't know why this is new to anybody. This is exactly how Sonic's been, and every line in this comic has to be approved by Sega. So if it was not within his character, they would have never approved it." And
yes, exactly.
You know, so kudos to him for doubling down on that and not apologizing for his writing, because fuck these people, man.
Genuinely, I'm sick. Everyone thinks that they know better than like everyone else, and it's like, you don't.
So I had to get that off my chest because I know it's gonna come back around once this game releases, and I'm like, it's just a never-ending cycle on Twitter, right? So that opinion came out, and then Game Informer dropped like a huge feature on like the story and what they thought of Sonic Frontiers, which again, they didn't really say anything bad about it. They actually did a pretty damn good interview with Takashi Iizuka, which was like a lightning round of questions, which was rather enlightening. I like Iizuka as a person. It looks like he has a little bit of a sense of humor now. But yeah, this poor guy, you can tell like he doesn't get paid enough for this shit. But but Game Informer actually did a pretty decent job like covering the game and you know, based on what they were allowed to say. And Ian Flynn did an interview with them and all that stuff. And I don't know if anyone knows, you know what, I'm not going to name drop either. This guy is a much bigger YouTuber than me, but whatever. He's not like a huge Sonic fan or whatever, but he's covered Sonic in the past. He dropped a tweet saying, because the Game Informer thing said that, yeah, Eggman is going to be involved in this game, but we're going to ground him and make him more human in this regard. And the whole point is, I think everyone has amnesia in this. So everyone's kind of, I think, starting like, it's meant to explore the characters, which I'm excited about for Sonic Frontiers, more so than anything else. Because I think there's been so much, I've been saying it for a long time, there's so much potential with these characters that they should be explored a little bit more in the games like it's explored in the comics. And with Ian Flynn doing this, I have no doubt that they're going to do that. But the premise is that they're in a new world or place with amnesia and no one remembers what's going on. So I think it's going to be a very exploratory piece on the characters. And I think Eggman is no exception to that, right? So they said that they want to ground him and make him a more human character in this. And some fool tweeted, "Oh yes, a man named Eggman. I've always wanted like a more grounded version of a guy named Eggman that captures."
Oh no, I know exactly who you're talking about. That's the dumbest take I've heard from this guy, and I like his videos. Like mainly like one series in particular is the only reason I watch him. But that was such the dumbest take I've heard from someone of all time. It's like, okay, anyone with a check mark next to their name is banned from talking about Sonic. just shut the fuck up. We don't want to hear your takes. If you have a check mark next to your name, shut up.
It's weird because sometimes like I'll watch these YouTube videos and I'm like, oh, these guys seem pretty like down to earth and cool, and then they'll put out like dumbass tweets where they look completely ignorant to the thing that they're talking about. And again, like as I'm doing the Origin Oracle series, I'm gonna step into territory that I'm not familiar with, and that's part of the charm for it for me. Because I'm not going to come in as an expert. This is what I found based on my research, right? And here are my opinions on that. And I'll always say, like, hey, like, even for the Sonic stuff, like, how do you feel about that? Leave your comments below. I'm never going to go on Twitter like, oh, well, just what I wanted. More Bowser exposition. Like, why would my dumbass mouth go out there and say that? Like, what if it does turn out nice? You know, like... Yeah. There's a lot of goofy characters that are explored and stuff, and just because they're saying Eggman's going to be more grounded doesn't mean that, like, it's going to be like, I'm depressed, Sonic. I've been wanting to talk to you about this for a very long time.
Which ironically enough, that was the original idea for Mania, was that Eggman was depressed and the hard-boiled heavies all took over for him. But Sega was like, that's stupid, don't do it. And then everyone was like, oh no, that would have been such a great story. And now it's like suddenly you think that giving Eggman some like backstory and character is like a bad idea? Like, but shut up. Stop.
Isn't that what's in the movies?
Exactly.
Robin?
Exactly.
Isn't that like a more grounded version? Like homie says that he's an orphan and rub that into my orphan face, and you know, like I think he said something again about his parents in the second one, and like he does little quips like that. And honestly, when he gets the power, like I'm not saying that he's not goofy.
Yeah,
sometimes
because he goofy, but he is more grounded, and he's like, it's like. I've said numerous times that I don't really care for Jim Carrey as an actor. I just don't like his style, but I like his portrayal of Eggman because it's a surprisingly good, unique take on the character.
Right.
And of course, obviously, some of that goes to writing, but it's also the way that he acts suits it. Like,
so yeah, like how is it okay there and it's not okay in the games itself? So like,
exactly. People
swear that Sonic would be out of place with more serious writing, and they worship Sonic Adventure 2 as one of the best Sonic games of all time. That's more serious writing. Like, compared to all the recent games in the last 10 years, come on. So like, I have a ground to stand on because they've done it before. Even the classics has like, I don't know if anyone else got this now. Like, I mean, maybe as adults you have a different vibe when you play it, but when I was playing it, Eggman was very, like, even though he looks goofy, he was very intimidating for me.
Intimidating and serious and sinister, especially with how his voice is done in those games too. Like,
and like as you get to, well, I'm talking like the classics, like the original games. Like, and as you get like to the end, even the music is more foreboding and like, like just very dark. Even Sonic CD, like, Eggman was never meant to be this goofball 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And so now that you're grounding this character, it doesn't mean that it's a bad idea. There are wrong ways to do it, like Sonic 06, for instance, which I'm not saying is a horribly horrible plot. But, some of it was very campy. But at the end of the day, it is Sonic at the end of the day. But there's the right way to do it, like Sonic Adventure 2, where he's holding a gun to Amy's head and saying, I will kill her if you don't come up here real quick. And like sending him out in a self-destructing capsule. Like all of that is a more grounded Eggman. Like that's, a fine, I'll do it myself moment. But we all like a huge purple guy that grabs all the Infinity Stones and says he wants to wipe out half the world because he's sad about like how much waste there is in the universe. That's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And like also, people are like, oh, Eggman, like, can't be serious or whatever. It's like, what do you think Sad AM is? What do you think the Archie comics are? What do you think the fucking, what are they called? IDW comics are? What do you think like the Fleetway comics are, even up to a point? Like,
right?
Like, come on, you can't just do this nonsense.
Again, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but this guy clearly knows nothing about the franchise, and to sit there and like read a whole Game Informer article and that's the only thing you take out of it. Oh God, he got like destroyed in the retweets, by the way.
Good.
Everybody was just like, yo, like, you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. Like, make it make sense. You know?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Oh my god, that's so true. It's like, you're a fan of TMNT and you're complaining about, like, absurd characters being grounded in serious. Shut up.
right. And everybody's like, this is why we haven't had any serious writing in the last 10 years for Sonic games. Yo, Sega, don't listen to this man, please. Like, people are like, I felt them crying as they were writing it, because I kind of felt the same way too. Not or I was crying or anything, but I'm just like, these people with check marks are the loudest. And I think Sega is dumb enough to sometimes look at that shit and like, all right, we'll listen. And then they'll follow that rubric for the next like 15, 20 years because they feel like that's what we want. And it's not.
The fact that they like collaborated with Aaron Hansen so many times is proof that they don't know what Sonic fans actually want.
Speaking of Aaron Hansen, did you know like they dropped him? Like they dropped him as like an ambassador for Sonic or whatever. I don't know why he was an ambassador in the first place.
Yes! Yes! Oh my god, yes! I am so happy right now. Oh yes!
I mean, this happened
gone.
It happened a while ago, but I'm not sure if you noticed. Like there was a point in time where he kept tweeting at Sega, like, "Hey, Bay, why aren't you at Sonic the Hedgehog? Why aren't you talking to me anymore? Yada yada yada." And I think it was when Aaron Weber left and like got promoted, and the others took over. Like, yeah, like why have this guy be the ambassador for Sonic? I mean, honestly, whatever. If you like his opinions and you agree with his opinions on Sonic, cool. Like, whatever. You are entitled to that. However you feel about the franchise. There are people who think it's one of the worst video game franchises out there. I'm not knocking you from having that opinion. But for Sega to have that as an ambassador and invite him out to Japan to go meet with Sega executives when there's, like, a ton of other YouTubers out there that could have that, like, that honor. Stupid.
Listeners, can you please, someone out there, animate me doing that little victory dance? I think that would be a really great animation.
Draw Robin flying out of his chair in his new furry avatar mode. No. And saying yes, yes over again as he brings his small furry arms close to his chest repeatedly as Aaron Hansen is kicked out of Sega headquarters in Japan by the Japanese staff who look at him with shame and disappointment.
And and even better, I want you to find a picture of like Aaron with a bunch of Sega people and just have him scratched out like that Yuji Naka picture.
That was so petty.
I mean, people say that, like, but I understand why he did it. Like, ugh. You know, like, because it's someone that, like, was with you for, like, a while and then, like, kind of screwed you over. So it's like you don't want to be associated with him. So, like,
yeah, you heard he was talking crap about behind your back and all that stuff. I mean,
I understand people saying that was petty, but honestly, I do the same thing.
Why not just crop him out, like zoom in, or like,
probably because he wanted to give recognition to the other people, and there wasn't like a way to just crop him out of that picture without cropping out some other people. So
I mean, yeah, to keep the explanation short for the listeners, like Yuji Naka's been like he has a loose tongue nowadays. I guess he's just like out of NDA at this point or whatever. I don't know, or maybe he just doesn't give a fuck anymore. But his Twitter's been popping lately because he's been dropping some takes about his time at Sega and Square Enix working on Balan Wonderworld. But anyway, he decided to post a picture of his time working on Nights into Dreams. I think it's been 20 years since the release, so he posted like the moment where it was complete, and they're all lined up. And so if you guys know or watch my videos, you'd know he worked on it with the creator of Sonic, Naoto Oshima, who recently partnered with him on Balan Wonderworld. And I guess he found out that he played a part in him being dropped from that project, so they are definitely not friends anymore. And he made that clear in that picture by taking a big black permanent marker and just like making him look like a Sith Lord when he like the way he scratched him out in that
yeah.
that photograph.
Yeah.
So he posted that recently on Twitter, and a lot of people didn't like that. They thought it was petty. I thought it was kind of petty, like professionalism. Robin kind of gave the other side of the coin to the argument, but he's definitely not giving a fuck on Twitter right now. Like, he basically came out and said why he did that and all this other stuff. So
yeah, no, Yuji Naka has just been like going full on no fuss mode on Twitter lately. It's so good.
He like had a take on the whole Michael Jackson thing. He's like, what? They took the Michael Jackson music out and they're like, and Sega's posting Michael Jackson music in their TikTok? That's not fair. Like a bunch of like takes. So hey, he may as well do it now. It's bringing more attention to him. And I don't know if he'll ever get a job like in the industry ever again. I think he's been like silently blacklisted.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
But
I can see why a lot of people like wouldn't want to work with him, but I'm sure there's like a lot of unclear rumors about him that have been going around, and I have brought some of them up in my videos. But it's, it's mostly speculation, but I can imagine he had some part to play, in a lot of things that went down. So yeah, I mean, hey, I wish him well at the end of the day. I honestly think people can change, and I say that constantly, and I wouldn't wish him to be like broken, penniless, and like blacklisted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, we don't hate the guy or anything.
But we hate Bobby Kotick, so
we hate Bobby Kotick. I hope
there are people that we do hate around here.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to give a political response every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there's some people where we're like, fuck you. Like fuck you, Bobby Kotick. Fuck you, the quartering. Fuck you, Hirohei. Let's see. Who else can we say fuck you to in the last 8 minutes of the show?
Fuck you, Reggie Fils-Aimé. No, just kidding.
No, he's
I just wanted to get crucified real quick. Like, somebody like press the pause button before I even finished that line. So that.
Let's see. It's, I don't know. Fuck you, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, I don't really like Ben Shapiro that much either. Like even though I don't agree with his takes, he's been like a little bit more tolerable lately. Even though like he is a smug little shrewd rat.
Did I ever tell you my theory? My theory that he's gay.
I wouldn't be surprised at that though. That's something like,
especially with how often he spends time with Dave Rubin. You can't tell me Dave Rubin isn't cheating on his husband with Ben Shapiro.
And his whole
I'd just like to clarify, these are jokes and I don't actually believe them, but yes I do.
We're not a political team out here. I'm just dropping my opinions, right?
Yeah, we're just.
I don't disagree with everything Ben Shapiro says, but there's a lot I don't agree with him. Like, and I don't like his delivery either. Yeah. But my point being, if you listen to his whole editorial on the song "WAP" by Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, I can tell there was no news that day, and he's probably not pleasing his wife very much. But that's
Speaking of that, do you remember that time that he that he said that like if my wife is wet, I'm taking her to the hospital because that's not normal or something?
Yeah. Didn't a doctor like say something about that? I think a doctor responded to that or something like, we would automatically send you home or something like that. No, but it's not Ben Shapiro that I would say, fuck you to. I mean, even though like I cannot stand some of his opinions. The one that gets the fuck you is Steven Crowder. I think he's dick.
Fuck that guy for sure.
That guy is like an absolute dick because he does he does say things for the hype, and he has a certain. It just like it's just more annoying when you see people do it for the reason to drum up drama.
You know what's funny is so you know how I'm bisexual, right?
Yes.
Steven Crowder made a tweet or something where he said that bisexuality isn't real, just pick a side, all that nonsense that I've had to deal with forever. Mm-hmm. What's funny is that someone responded to that with a clip of him on his show where he talked about how he experimented being bisexual and he was for a wild time, and that for a while, and now he hopes that the boogeyman of bisexuality doesn't rear its ugly head back into his life.
But you ever think that a lot of these people like put out some controversial takes or really conservative takes, like, and it starts like, at a very surface level, and they get a huge following. I agree with you, man. Not enough YouTubers are saying this, and then they start believing the things that they say because they were trying to keep up an act.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case for some of them.
I think that's what Steven Crowder is overall.
He's just he's a very fake and insincere person.
Yeah. There's really no point in going to the place where George Floyd was killed to go ask questions about how the situation was racist. Whether you agree it's racist or not, don't go out there as people are recovering from something that I'm not putting a stance on this when I say this, but it did damage to the community overall over there. Why are you gonna go out there and go question people on the road about whether you think things it's fine if you want to report and spread a message that the community is trying to put out there or what's going on over there, but to go out there and antagonize people, it's stupid. There's a time and place for everything.
I can't believe he did that. I didn't know about that. That just makes me hate him even more. Holy shit.
Yeah, some guy was, painting on a wall or next to a bodega or something like that. It was an empty wall or whatever.
Yeah.
Next to a business, and it was rest in peace George Floyd or whatever. And he immediately goes up there hey, that's vandalism, right? You're vandalizing your community. And he's like, I am just honestly, I think he got approval from the store owner, number one.
Yeah.
And two, he was just I'm painting this because this is something I truly believe in. And, people like you come up to me and ask me these questions when, other people are dying in the street and stuff like that. Regardless how you feel on the topic, just walking up and saying, hey, this is vandalism, right? That's...
And, shoving a camera and a microphone in their face, too.
Right. Regardless of your stance, you're not going to get a positive response. You're baiting a response.
Yeah, exactly. That's his whole shtick, is that he just baits people into saying what he wants them to say.
So... fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy for sure. Fuck
and his podcast is the douchiest thing. I saw it the other day, and it's he's up in this throne room level of his podcast area. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's I don't even remember what it looks like. But if you saw a video, I don't. He's just higher than his editor or his fellow people that he's with. His place is elevated. He's in this little booth area. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, he's definitely someone with an ego for sure. I think mom and dad didn't love him all that much when he was younger.
And his male crush in high school. Which is why he's putting his bisexual past behind him. I wasn't accepted. Anyway.
We just pissed off someone, but I don't care.
I'm not saying that to knock anybody. I'm saying that to knock him.
Okay, that's a good little controversial way to end the show, don't you think?
I think so. Yes. And that guy who didn't give Steven Crowder attention back in high school, you sent a monster out on us. So think about your actions.
Yes.
And it goes back to my point about Sonic, he's to blame for Surge's suffering, because he indirectly did not stop the problem. So I've come full circle, and I'm now a hypocrite. So anyway, I think that'll do it for this podcast. You want to take us home?
Yes. Thank you all for watching today's episode of Whenever, episode number 29. We're almost in our 30s, crushing 30s.
Jesus.
So, yes, thank you all for listening. As always, I am Robin.
And I'm the Mentok.
And we will see you all later.
Peace.
Peace.